Hi class, my name is Zaira and these are the top 26 places affected by climate change. First off, we're looking at Afghanistan, which is home to various kinds of ecosystems such as mountains, deserts, grasslands, and marshes. Due to climate change, temperatures have increased, leading to water scarcity. Water scarcity has made it difficult for agriculture to thrive there and has caused starvation, food insecurity, and a demand for more resources. Many endangered species, like the snow leopard, also live in this area. Human activities such as deforestation has contributed to high amounts of carbon dioxide levels into the atmosphere, but educating the community and others can help spread awareness about the climate change in this area. Next up would be the Amazon. The Amazon is home to a wide range of different plants and animals. The Amazon has lost over 9% of the rainforest between 2001 and 2020. Due to many reasons, including such human activities such as deforestation, caused by humans cutting down more areas of the rainforest. The rise in temperatures have also led to an increase of wildfires. This has a huge impact on the agriculture, the species, and the indigenous people living there. Spreading public awareness promotes media campaigns that can also help contribute to saving more of the Amazon rainforest. Here we have Bangkok, which, as you can see, severe flooding has affected this region due to rise in sea levels. Human activities such as urbanization has also contributed to the global rise in temperature as well. This has also impacted their ability to produce their own agriculture, build infrastructures, and move from one place to another. This is also home to various species. Human contributions have been made in order to aid the flood prevention as well. They have started flood preventions, and management has aided with the flooding, with the drainage systems and flood barriers. Up next, we do have Bangladesh, and the rising sea levels have affected their agriculture since the salt water is damaging the soil to produce crops. It has also caused the need for more resources and food. Millions are relying on only rice for food and are experiencing a huge food shortage. It is home to a tropical rainforest, wetlands, and rivers. Human contributions have been made, for example, reforestation and renewable energy development has helped conservation efforts. Here we have the Belize Barrier Reef, which is a 185-mile-long reef. It has been experiencing severe impact due to climate change. The melting polar ice caps and the rise in sea levels has disrupted the reef's ecosystem, affecting the survival of the algae that lives in these corals. Coral bleaching is a result of the climate change and temperature of the sea, and the corals are losing their color and dying. Conservation efforts such as the Ho Chen Marine Reserve and the Bacalar Chico Marine Reserve do monitor the coral reefs and help protect marine biodiversity. Up next, we have the Dead Sea. With the rise in temperature due to climate change, rainfall in the Dead Sea has become more rare. This is affecting the need for irrigation and drinking water. Water levels fall almost 4 feet every year, affecting the ecosystem and the species that thrive in this high salt environment. Water transfer projects have been made in order to restore and maintain the Dead Sea's unique ecosystem. Here we have Easter Island. The severe weather events like the extreme rainfall, the rise in sea levels, and the disruption of the biodiversity in Easter Island have been a result of climate change. This has led to erosion and the endangerment of many species that live there. It is important because Easter Island is at risk of losing their cultural heritage and many uncovered ancient artifacts left behind by previous ancient civilizations. Restoration of native vegetation has helped conservation efforts in Easter Island as well. Up next, we do have the Great Barrier Reef. Coral bleaching has impacted the coral reefs, causing the corals to turn white and die. With the change in water temperatures, the Great Barrier Reef is also experiencing ocean acidification since our oceans absorb carbon dioxide from our atmosphere. This is causing a change in the ocean's pH levels and affecting thousands of species and plants that are inhabiting the area. Conservation projects have contributed in helping Project Marine Diversity and Coral Reef Restoration. And here we have Kiribati. Due to global warming, sea levels in Kiribati have risen 3.2 millimeters a year since 1993. At this rate, this beautiful island will soon sink because of the melting glaciers and ice caps. Many people inhabiting the area have already been asked to leave to a different area since this island is destined to sink. Many of its inhabitants didn't even realize they would be seeing the effects of global warming right before their eyes. Due to the rise in sea levels, however, climate resilient infrastructures have been made to improve housing and transportation. Next, we have Lagos. It is home to lagoons and wetland ecosystems. It has roughly 20 million people, and many of them have been experiencing constant flooding, sea levels rising, and severe weather as a result of climate change. It is important since many of its inhabitants have undergone severe property damage that have cost them thousands of dollars, and about 50 people have actually lost their lives due to the flooding. Organizations like the Lagos State Park and Gardens Agency have taken tree planting initiatives towards the conservation of Lagos. Up next, we have Mekong Delta, which is home to many diverse plants and species, as well as ecosystems such as wetlands and forests. It is one of the biggest fisheries and rice productions. However, severe flooding has affected their ability to farm and produce more food. They say Mekong Delta is bound to sink in the next century at the rate the sea level is rising. But flood control and ecosystem restoration efforts have been made to ensure long-term sustainability. Up next, we have Madagascar. Deforestation in Madagascar has led to high greenhouse gas emissions being let off into the atmosphere. The unpredictable rainy weather here has also affected farming and food insecurity. The change in rain patterns has also led to more droughts, and many of the people living there are struggling to find clean water. It is home to a huge variety of species, and 90% of its wildlife is native. Diverse ecosystems like the rainforests, dry forests, and reefs are found in this area. Wildlife sanctuaries and the protection of certain areas have helped maintain and conserve its biodiversity. Up next is the Maldives, and many of its inhabitants living in the Maldives have been experiencing severe weather events such as constant flooding, tropic cyclones, and coral bleaching. Coral bleaching in the Maldives has hugely impacted the marine ecosystem, weakening the coral reefs. The constant sea level rising has also affected their agriculture, leading to food insecurity, water scarcity, and many of its people living there have been forced to start looking for other areas to inhabit. The Maldives does have a very unique ecosystem and marine life. The BAA Biosphere Reserve project promotes the conservation of the marine biodiversity, especially the coral reefs.
Mumbai, which is India's financial capital, faces many challenges due to climate change. New reports tell us that due to the sea level rise because of climate change, by 2050, most of the capital will be underwater. While some describe Mumbai as a concrete jungle, they have a very well-rounded biodiversity. They have a vast variety of organisms such as butterflies, crabs, and birds, as well as a large population of trees and other plants. Mumbai is a capital with large rates of migration due to the many jobs that it has to offer. They continuously have to build housing, which affects the wildlife previously living in those communities. The government has taken steps towards sanitation, however, there is more that they can do as a community. Nepal maintains their economy through a line of climate-sensitive business. They make most of their money through forestry, ecotourism, and agriculture. Nepal has a rich biodiversity and is in the 49th position in the world's biodiversity. There are 28 species of gymnosperms, 1,001 species of algae, 2,025 species of fungi, and many more. They even have over 1,000 fauna species, including mammals, birds, and insects. Nepal currently has a registered charity called the Nepal Biodiversity Research and Conservation Center that is dedicated to the conservation and research of biodiversity in Nepal. Some aspects that they focus on include habitat and ecosystem restoration, community empowerment, and human-wildlife conflict mitigation. Many human activities affect climate change in Nepal, such as deforestation, water pollution, and air pollution. One of the most vulnerable cities in the United States due to climate change is New Orleans. The city has a low elevation, and climate change causes the sea levels to rise, as well as very intense hurricanes to occur. Due to the magnitudes of the hurricanes that hit New Orleans, the protective wetlands that surround the area are at a heavy risk of being destroyed. The wetlands are vital to the people of New Orleans because they slow down the waves of a hurricane by meters before they even reach the city. New Orleans has fallen victim of anthropogenic soil subsidence, which is when human actions cause the land to sink. New Orleans officials have implemented the Mid-Bartaria Sediment Division to take action against the damaged wetlands. The goal is to build land using natural energy from the river to move sediment from rivers to wetlands. New York holds a lot of environmental significance. The population is incredibly dense and uses the largest amount of public transportation in the nation. New York also holds building owners to higher standards through strict regulations on decarbonized energy and improved efficiency as a way to replace fossil fuels with renewable energy. New York has a wide ecosystem with plenty of biodiversity, such as plants, animals, fungi, and bacteria. Although they may be hard to spot at times in the busy city, many places are very green and nature-oriented, like Central Park. Humans tend to destroy the habitats of pre-existing organisms in New York and pollute the air with fossil fuels and vehicles. Osaka is an extremely advanced city when it comes to the environment. The city contributes to the achievement of SDGs, which are also known as Sustainable Development Goals. To combat climate change, Osaka has 3 main goals. First, Osaka attempts to mainly use renewable energy to become a decarbonized society. Second, by 2030, they want to achieve a 50% reduction in greenhouse gas emissions compared to their emissions in 2013. Third, they created the Osaka Smart Energy Plan in 2021 to create better energy efficiency. Pakistan is one of the most vulnerable countries to climate change and is currently ranked at number 5 on the Global Climate Risk Index. The nation experiences common extreme weather events such as heat waves. Pakistan's government has made many initiatives to help the environment, including Clean and Green Pakistan, 10 Billion Tree Tsunami, Protected Areas Initiative, and Recharge Pakistan. The people of Pakistan contribute heavily to pollution by using coal-based power plants. They also use old and inefficient cars and brick kilns, as well as burn crop residues to save time. While deforestation, soil erosion, and waterlogging cause risks to the ecosystem, it still is very biodiverse and span widely through the region. Puerto Rico supports many endangered animals, such as sea turtles, and has many diverse and gorgeous habitats, such as rainforests. Some of the biggest and most expansive coral reefs are in Puerto Rico. To help fight against climate change, Puerto Rico has limited the use of natural resources, adapted to high energy, and tightened environmental regulations. In 1992, the Earth Summit took place in Rio de Janeiro to reconcile economic development and protect the environment. They decided to adopt the Rio Declaration after the summit, which included 27 unbinding principles to follow for the betterment of the environment. These 27 principles have since been reevaluated and elaborated on in the Kyoto Protocol from 1997 and the Paris Agreement from 2015. Rio has a very large population that grew fast, which caused an unequal urban development throughout the city. Rio is home to a vast variety of wildlife, from rainforests to beaches. More than 2,200 species of mammals, fish, and birds, and 20,000 species of plants also reside here. Sahel is facing severe global warming, about 50% greater than average, due to climate change. It also suffers from some of the worst droughts in the past 50 years. The population in Sahel is skyrocketing and is projected to more than double by 2050. This has caused internal displacement as well as excess hunger, poverty, and unrest. Sahel is a very diverse place and consists of forests, wetlands, and savannas. There are many endangered animals, such as endangered elephants, and other animals like giraffes, lions, cheetahs, and other large mammals. The Sahel Human Development Report, aka HDR, was created to address some of the issues regarding water access, renewable energy production, and education. While being one of the least contributors to greenhouse gas emissions, Somalia ranks as the second most vulnerable place in the world to climate change. The country faces droughts, floods, and altered rainfall patterns. The biodiversity in Somalia is at risk for the loss of animal and plant species. A major cause of this is deforestation. This and the droughts have caused soil erosion, loss of fertile land, and land degradation. Somalia has faced civil unrest for the past 25 years, which has negative effects on the environment. The UN is focused on fighting the effects of climate change in Somalia. Peace, security, and the strengthening of systems are being heavily focused on. Sri Lanka experiences floods, landslides, droughts, coastal erosion, and cyclones. According to the Global Climate Risk Index, Sri Lanka is ranked within the top 10. Sri Lanka is considered to be a biodiversity hotspot with an abundance of endemic species. Deforestation puts this at risk, as do other human activities like the degradation of wetlands. They must focus on climate adaptation, sustainable food production, and renewable energy sources to make a difference in climate change. Venice is a very ecologically intricate and important city. The architecture is built around the existing land and water, which makes the city an ecosystem based purely on its natural environment. In fact, the architecture reflects the effect of human activity because the hydraulic and overall architecture in the lagoon area. Venice has taken strides to help the environment, namely the fact that they are a part of the UNESCO World Heritage Site. The Yamal Peninsula holds one of the largest untapped natural gas sources in the world. It holds about 20% of the world's natural gas reserves. There are lots of birds and reindeer in the shrub tundra of the Yamal Peninsula. Human activity has affected the environment greatly. An example of this is extensive oil and gas development activities occurring that have disrupted ecosystems and altered landscape.